We have some really happy news for everybody. Our Monrovia lion, who was burned in the Bobcat Fire, has been released back into the wild on Friday. Her paws are all healed up and she's ready to go.
This is the first time we have actually rehabilitated and released a mountain lion in the state of California. She was the ideal mountain lion. She's an adult, she's proved she could live in the wild, but she had injuries that we could help her with, and we knew that she could survive once we put her back. We didn't have to teach her how to be a lion. She already has done that very successfully for, we think, about 7 years. This will be a good place for her to just hang out, and it's got water and she can rest tonight and get her bearings tomorrow. This is the goal. Like, she's a wild creature and the goal is not for her to be in that cage, it's to be back out here. And that is really gratifying.
They made a fantastic effort. They were able to get her eating and comfortable. And even though she chewed off her bandages quite a few times, they had to replace them. The techniques that they used really accelerated the healing of her paws so that she's able to now be back out. The vets had a couple of different animals in for burn injuries from the various California fires.
I think that we all watched in horror as Australia was burning, and we saw koalas and kangaroos that were burned from the wildfires. But we're starting to see these incidents happen in other places in the world as well. In South America, jaguars being burned, and in California, now we're seeing bobcats and bears and coyotes and cougars being burned victims from really what's predominantly human-caused wildfires. It's really our responsibility to be able to successfully respond to these incidents and help the animals.
While we were rescuing her, that day was pretty chaotic. It was stressful, and there were a lot of details that we weren't able to assess while we were there. So once she got to the vet and she had a once-over of her condition, they found actually that her weight was quite a bit down. She was about 68 pounds. The burn injuries on her paws were about 1 to 2 weeks old. That means that she had been suffering for a while, and that was the reason her weight was decreased. She couldn't hunt, she couldn't feed herself. Had we not intervened, had they not been available to help her through this healing process, she wouldn't have been able to catch her food. Her natural diet is almost exclusively mule deer. They're difficult, even for a large skilled predator like a mountain lion to take down. So it takes the full use of their paws and all of their strength to be successful doing that.
What's really great about this case, and even though this has probably been the most stressful thing that's ever happened in this cougar's life, we're really learning a lot about how we respond to these incidents as an organization, and also the state is looking at how are we going to manage these situations into the future. And so the California Department of Fish and Wildlife and UC Davis have partnered together to create what's called the Wildlife Disaster Network, where they're now taking a statewide approach of how do we successfully rescue, capture, and rehabilitate and release animals back into the wild after these fires occur.
The reason we're finding that rescuing this one mountain lion is so exciting and so fulfilling is that she isn't just one wild animal. She is an ambassador. She's representing all the challenges that this species has right now. She's important. She's important to the San Gabriel Mountains.
Mountain lions living in the San Gabriels are actually a candidate species right now under the California Endangered Species Act. Right now, lions in this area have special protections as though they are a state-threatened or endangered species.
Wildlife managers have a lot to consider when they release an animal like this back into the wild. Mountain lions are very territorial. Plus, she's spent 7 years of her life getting to know where the water is, where the resources are, good hunting areas, times of day to avoid popular trails, all of these things. And obviously she won't be put back into a burned area that's destroyed. They need to find a very similar nearby habitat where she can quickly find the things that she needs in order to thrive.
We're challenging the notion that these large carnivores like cougars can just make it out of a fire. So this year alone, there's been multiple mountain lion kittens that have been rescued from these fires. And so we really need to take a look at, this general notion that they're just going to be okay. And so that really pivots us to ask the question of what is our responsibility in being able to care and manage these animals, especially in these small, isolated populations. Unfortunately, with the increase in human-caused wildfires, these incidents are only going to become more frequent. And so we hope that the public feels comfortable reaching out to the Cougar Conservancy if you have concern that there is an injured cougar in your backyard.
These events are going to continue to happen, and most likely they're going to get a bit worse. If we're going to protect mountain lions in Southern California, we have to find ways to help them deal with wildfire and the stress of decreased habitat and being hemmed in by roadways and rodenticides and interactions with people. And what's hopeful about this is as we identify these issues, we are finding ways to help. A lot of this is very exciting because not only did we get the extremely rare opportunity to save this mountain lion, we're going to learn from this. We're going to be able to handle this in the future. Our wildlife managers can't be everywhere at once. These disasters are enormous. We need something in place, and that's what we're trying to do.
We definitely have learned a lot through this one situation, and we're going to continue to learn more, and we hope that we can be a resource for both wildlife communities and human communities as well.
What I really hope for out of this is we're able to follow her progress even more, so that over the next couple of years, if we can get some news on her movements, if we can hear that she had kittens, that she's maybe settled into a new home range, that's going to be amazing. We want to give our most sincere thanks to Dr. Wolf, Dr. Payton, and Dr. Clifford for stepping in and taking care of this girl. And our biggest thanks go to Gary Potter. He's got a huge heart. He's a wonderful human being, and his desire to help this lion is what set it all in motion.